problem in Sri Lanka, the Netherlands, and many other countries. The poster is still there on the street of Zurich, Switzerland. This is Sri Lanka today, and this is the Dutch farmers and truckers today. The movement is escalating all over the world. And the first one who have pointed out the most wanted globalists are the Swiss people. These wanted people have caused problems in Sri Lanka.
All this talk about food shortages and this and that on the news, guys, you can be growing your own food. If we all did this on a small scale, like the Victory Garden movement, we wouldn't have to rely on the industrial food supply. It can actually be quite easy to grow food. It's all about building soil, healthy living soil, which gives you healthy plants. Jim uses no fertilizers, very minimal irrigation, no chemicals, thriving on neglect. This is a very urban setting, being right here in the city. This can be done on scale. This can be scaled to multi-acre if you wanted to. If you have a community or a team, you can do this at any size. Nasturtium, on cabbages, on kales. Jim grows about 50 different varieties of lettuce, and he's going to be heading up to Maine here soon. He's a nomadic farmer, farming half the year in Florida, half the year in Maine. My message to y'all is we can all do this, grow food, not grass.
Walmart has applied for a patent to create drone pollinators. According to CNN, the retailer would use the drones to fill a pollination gap left by a declining bee population. Scientists say pesticides have wreaked havoc on bees, a population Walmart relies on to sell some of its products. The patent document describes drones with pollen detector sensors and unmanned aerial vehicles that collect pollen from one crop, then distribute it to another. A Walmart spokesperson says, quote, "We're always thinking about new concepts in ways that will help us further enhance how we service customers, but we don't have any further details."
That news from 2018 was also shared by the World Economic Forum website. This type of stuff just shows the backwards thinking that goes on when we talk about health. They said pesticides are wreaking havoc on bees. Guess who else they're wreaking havoc on? But instead of cutting down on pesticides, they decide to go the unnatural route of trying to create robot bees. If you don't realize that healthcare in America is twisted, you're not paying attention. Obesity's going up, childhood obesity's going up, life expectancy's going backwards. We're being treated like a GMO chicken on a conveyor belt headed towards the slaughter. Fatten us up, pop a bunch of pills in us, spray our foods with pesticides, and instead of talking about diet, health, exercise, they just talk about pills, synthetic injections, and creating robot bees instead of just cutting back on the source of what's killing the bees. Unbelievable.
Walmart has applied for a patent to create drone
Mainstream fake news finally admits what conspiracy theorists have been saying all along. There are thousands of toxic chemicals that are being added to the food and water supply. I wonder what made them finally address this. Plastic wrap on your microwavable foods is poison, and microwaving it is also poison too. Are they posting this article to try to make it seem like they actually care about you? Maybe, but nail polish is toxic. The chemicals in there absorb through your nails and end up depositing in your organs. Birth defects, hormone disruption, disrupts melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. Canned food, poison. The FDA never considers the overall effect of these 10,000 chemicals on people's health. I kind of thought that was their job. Now here it's saying kids basically get dumber each year from all these poisons, and it could affect the economy. Also could affect the human race. Low dose poison day by day. Is this an attempt to make you weak?
So let's talk about what's going on in America. Freedom is under attack in your state. Dictator Ron DeSantis incredibly lets you walk around without masks. That tyrant allows your kids to go to school during the pandemic, year 2 or 4, or who the hell knows. I urge you living in Florida to join the fight. Or join us in California, where we'll take the money you earn and give it to people who don't work. Visit San Francisco, where you can walk through human feces. If you're lucky, you might step on a syringe. Check out Los Angeles, where gas is so expensive, your kids only need to skip a meal or 2 or 10 to afford it. California, where freedom means lockdowns for you while I go to the places you can't afford. Don't let them take your freedom. Come to California, where we'll take it, along with your money.
Most people are so sufficiently disconnected that they aren't aware of what brings them joy or what is driving their decisions or the activities that would gird their life with more purpose and fulfillment and meaning and the like. And I think a process of starting to better understand yourself and what makes you tick is having the courage to share your story. We all have a story, right? And that courage is born out of a choice to be vulnerable. Like, the vulnerability is strength because it takes bravery and courage to share something. When you can summon that and engage with that, there is a level of self-efficacy and self-esteem that derives from that allows you to be more self-integrated and self-actualized, to stand in that power, to adorn that crown, and like claim your truth and your path.
I mean, I've always been a feminist, right? So even when I was younger and very much asleep, I identified as a feminist, and I was one of those people who thought that birth control was like a female entitlement, like, how dare you not make this free and widely available. But as I began to research more about it and more about how it's in many ways like the ultimate, not to sound too inflammatory, but the ultimate tool for oppression of, the modern woman, now I find it incredible that that we're still taking it. Because it seems like a good idea, right? Who wants to deal with your annoying menstrual cycle? Who wants to get pregnant? Who wants to have endometriosis or polycystic ovary? Who wants to have acne or like hair growing in weird places? But it's the magic pill illusion. There's no free lunch. There's never going to be something that just fixes it for you and you just waltz off into the sunset. There's always a cost, and the cost is so much more vast, like ranging from literally death all the way to just like subtle alterations in your personality and like the pheromones you secrete, and there was just a 1 million woman study in Scandinavia that showed about the vast increase in antidepressant prescribing for teenagers who are prescribed birth control. So it's the beginning of it's like a gateway drug sometimes for psych meds too. I mean, okay to be a man.
It's not okay. It's necessary. What the hell are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up. These men, they're doing impossible things. They're under the streets, working on the sewers. They're up on the power lines in the storms and the rain. They're keeping this impossible infrastructure functioning, this thing that works in a miraculous manner. They work themselves to death, and often literally. And the gratitude for that is sorely lacking, especially among the people who should be most grateful, failing to understand entirely that there's a massive infrastructure of unbelievably hardworking, solidly laboring, working-class men breaking themselves in half on a regular basis, making sure that everything that always breaks works. And so a little gratitude for that is in order.
Okay.
No, I can see it in your face. You're a cardiologist. You take care of people with heart disease. You deal with the problems of obesity in this country. You say, not so fast.
Absolutely. We're dealing with serious diseases, and nutritional advice isn't hypothetical. We're talking about heart disease, cancer, multiple sclerosis. What a medical doctor tells a patient should be a matter of trust, and it has to be based on the scientific method. And that's where we smell a rat in this debate. Dr. Gundry, in all respect, has not published a published paper on this topic, little tiny paragraphs. That is not a basis to change the nutritional pattern. Let me tell you 3 important facts. Number 1, if you want to live a long life in this world, whether you live in Japan, Greece, Italy, Costa Rica, or Loma Linda, you eat beans, you eat peas, you eat lentils. The universal food of longevity is the food he takes away.
Who wrote the agreement on agriculture that's destroyed all the self-reliance and food sovereignty of people? Everyone's talking about the Ukraine war and Russia, but the reason African countries are hungry is because their ability to produce their food was destroyed by the right to dump by Cargill. Cargill wrote the agreement on agriculture, and then the junk food industry, the Pepsis and Cokes and Nestle's, wrote the sanitary and phytosanitary agreement and created the Codex Alimentarius to shut down healthy food and pushed the food that gave us illnesses, 75% chronic diseases. This is not a conspiracy. There is evidence that the corporations wrote the rules, then it created the billionaires. Now the billionaires rule the world. And I call them the 1%, not because they're 1%, they're just a handful. And when you ask me, what's the optimism? For me, the optimism is a pathetic group of ignorant, selfish men are not more powerful than all the people who've occupied the palace of the president in Sri Lanka. the farmers who've occupied the streets of Netherlands. People have power. We've been made to think we are inert. We've been made to think nature is inert. And all it is a colonization of our mind. The minute we become free and say, we are part of nature, we are creative, and we are powerful in a different way.
Thank you for watching. Comment below. Don't forget, you can, if you want, subscribe, like, or hit the bell. Hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. I don't know if I just started this channel, so I don't know if it's shadow banned yet, but I'm trying not to get to that level. You know, it's a free country, so you can do whatever you want. It's a free country. I mean, it's only free if you make it free. So we're trying to get free.